Okay, and Lauren can take over from now.
Thank you, Professor Lee. Okay. So yes, welcome everyone. It's very nice to see all of you here. So I'm going to go through my part pretty quickly because we want to make sure that we have enough time for our lovely student returnees to share all of their wonderful experiences with you. So what we'll be covering today is some tips about how to study abroad, advising resources that we have here in the Global Learning Office. We'll cover briefly some information about financials, study abroad, what are the steps to apply to study abroad, how does transfer credit work, and then we'll be going over some details about our two current partners that we have in South Korea. So Ewha, I'll be corrected on my pronunciation, Women's University and Yonsei University. I did live in Korea for a couple of years teaching English, but I didn't do as well on my learning of Korean, so sorry about that. And then we will have our student panel with some Q&A with students who have participated in both of our partner programs in South Korea to share their experiences with you. So yes, so GLOW, the Global Learning Office, we're open for virtual and in-person advising. I also highly recommend, if you haven't already, to attend a Study Abroad 101. So today we'll be going over a lot of details about South Korea, but the Study Abroad 101 session is really helpful for just understanding study abroad generally and all the different opportunities that we have. You can meet with any of the GLOW advisors for any region or country that you're interested in. We are located in 1800 Sherman Avenue, so kind of by the Starbucks over here, a little bit on the edge of campus, and we have a lot of information on our website. We'll be sending out the link to this recording later, so you'll have the link to the recording, you'll have a PDF of the PowerPoint, so you'll have all of these links sent to you afterwards, so all of these resources you will be able to access. So some highlights of resources to share with you. You can see all of the programs that we offer on our website. You can connect with past participants there's a connect with students link on our website. This is really useful. You can see the names and contact information for students who have participated in all the different programs that we offer and reach out to them and talk to them one-on-one about their experience and ask any specific questions that you have. The applications for the 2025-2026 application cycle are currently open. So we'll be talking more about deadlines and things like that coming up. You can also see the link to our eligibility requirements, just things like being in good academic standing, not having any disciplinary records, things like that. In terms of financial aid, so of course, cost is always something to consider, right, when you're looking to study abroad. So the financial aid office is really helpful. So if you do receive financial aid to attend Northwestern, generally you can use financial aid to study abroad as well. It is kind of case by case sometimes, so you do want to reach out to the financial aid office to request what we call a cost estimate for the specific program that you're interested in to see if you are eligible, if the program is eligible, and just get those details about how your financial aid will work for study abroad. One thing to note is that the partner programs we'll be covering today, you may be able to use your financial aid for those, but if you do any sort of independent option, so anything outside of, well, if you're going to South Korea, anything outside of Yonsei or Ewha, um, those you would not be able to use financial aid for. You might be able to get transfer credit potentially, and these are kind of outliers, so we can talk about that separately. But the key point here is just talk directly to the financial aid office to find out about your specific financial aid situation. And there are also scholarships available. So Northwestern has internal scholarships, there are external scholarships. South Korea is anywhere in Asia is considered a non-traditional location for study abroad. So typically you can find more scholarship opportunities versus going to somewhere like Western Europe, where you might have maybe not as many options because it's considered more of a traditional location. Also, the Office of Fellowships at Northwestern has a really great tool called the Fellowship Finder, um, where you can search for fellowships. I just want to check. You can still see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Just checking. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Moving on. So, steps to study abroad. Yeah. It's never too early to start preparing. I think many of the folks on the call today are first year students, so that's great that you're already thinking about this. Every school at Northwestern, whether you're in Beaton, McCormick, Weinberg, every school has different policies when it comes to study abroad in terms of, how many courses you can transfer and all of that. So it's really good. It's actually required as part of the GLOW application process to speak with your major advisors, minor advisors. You definitely want to talk if you're thinking about studying language, talk with the Korean language program, talk with me in the Global Learning Office about how what classes you might want to take and how those credits will be able to transfer. Most of the programs in Korea, so Yonsei and Ewha do not require letters of recommendation, but if you're looking at other programs, potentially some programs do require letters of recommendation. So you do want to give your professors plenty of time to write those. Usually we would suggest at least a month before the deadline. Deadlines are very important. Make sure you follow those. We have them for a reason, and we do follow those strictly. And some scholarships have deadlines that are earlier than program deadlines. So if you're interested in scholarships, definitely make sure you look at those deadlines as well. And speaking of deadlines, yes. So February 25th will be the deadline for partner programs for summer, fall, and full year 2025. Yonsei for this fall is currently full and there is a wait list. For Yonsei for fall 2026, for those students who are interested in applying for Yonsei then, I think we will likely not open applications until January 2026 to make sure that to make sure students have more time to apply because the program did fill very early this fall. So I think we're going to change the process a little bit to make sure students have more opportunity to apply to that program going forward. If you're worried about wait lists and all of that, winter spring for Yonsei is not competitive just because not as many students go during that term. So if you are still wanting to go to Yonsei, maybe in the 25-26 application cycle, you could consider winter spring. We'll also be covering Ewha, which is another great opportunity. And then the deadline, if you do want to go for winter spring, the deadline for that to apply will not be until September 25th. So you do have time. In addition to the GLOW application, you also have to apply directly to the program itself, and they make the actual admissions decision. So there will be two applications, but I'm happy to talk with students more about all of those details in advising appointments. So I don't want to spend too much time on that now. And then now I will hand it over to Professor Kim to talk about transferring credits.
Yes, I think this is very important for you guys. I think, and you are very interested in this. So if you want to transfer credit from your study abroad, you have to get a permission to study abroad by appropriate Northwestern deadline and prior to the commencement of the program. So in a sense that you must apply for the permission before going to study abroad and refer to the GLO website. And then another one is if you are Korean language students and you want to articulate study abroad credit for language courses, then usually the students are toward a major in Asian languages and cultures or the advanced Asian languages minor in Korean. Then upon return, you must take the Korean placement test. And your test result determines the number of Korean language credits to be articulated. So we are very systematic and to apply the placement test, and then you will come to the placement coordinator and to see which level you are going and how many courses you are exempted. And once the placement test result is posted on the official page, you will meet with Professor we, Director of Undergraduate Studies, and bring all of the petition form and syllabi to apply all of the credits. And GLO will provide you with a transcript copy. And next slide. Yeah, so now I want to talk about Ewha Women's University program. But Yonsei, you know a lot, so let's go to Ewha first. Ewha University accepts both male and female international students. So Ewha Women's, that's why you are thinking about this is just female education, but it's not the co-education institute, so you will apply for this. And this Ewha Women's University is the largest comprehensive research university for women. And Ewha graduates level have led Korean society by being the first woman in almost every field. So Ewha is the precursor. Ewha is leading women's professional in Korea. And there is an international house will provide students an opportunity to experience various cultures with students from diverse backgrounds. So far, for a year, actually over 3,000 students from more than 70 countries visit Ewha. So Ewha is popular. So you think about Ewha study abroad, which is across the street from Yonsei University. It's very close to each other. And there is a student, even today, we don't have returnees from Ewha today. So we have this letter from Clara O, who was global, who was a Zero Student Ambassador. She went to Ewha in fall 2023, and she has lots of good experiences, and she wants to share. Her major were double major in global health studies and political science, and she had a lot of good experience. So, and she wants to share her excitement to you. So let's go to the next slide. And and this one is from returnist, and there is a lot of good experience. And you see the all of the green color highlighted. So the returnees share a lot of very exciting and significant experiences. And Ewha actually Ewha's professor were very knowledgeable and passionate, and respecting students, and they are very welcoming, and all of the programs are very encouraging for students to engage both inside and outside the university. And I can share one professional experience. One of the graduates, her name is Kiana Staples. She went to Ewha study abroad 2022 winter was in fall, and she had really good experience, and she pursued master degree in Ewha now, and she got full scholarship supported by Ewha and United States government, and that's why a lot of good experience, and individually and group, many good experience from Ewha, so we can recommend Ewha. And now I want to turn mic to Professor Lee.
Thank you, Professor Kim and then Lauren, to share these things. So as Lauren mentioned, Yonsei is filled up, and then we have the wait list. I hope this doesn't discourage you. The study abroad in Korea has become suddenly so popular, so that happened. So we kind of advertised Ewha University because somewhat students weren't as enthusiastic, as Yonsei University, but it's a very good school. This is our partner school where you can apply your financial aid. So consider Ewha if you are considering for this coming fall. And before we move on to the student one, if you have some quick question about this logistics things, we like to take questions. So could you please use the raise a hand or something. So if you have any question, or just speak up, 저기. No question. I don't see any question one. Okay. So then maybe we can move on to the returning sessions. So we have 5 students who gracefully, agreed to share their experiences. I'm gonna divide into 2 groups. First, who went to Yonsei for the academic year. Here I see Varun Shi. Is Varun Shi here?
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, okay, good. Would you like to show the handsome face?
Sure, I'll turn on my camera. One second.
Okay, so Varun, and then Remy. Is Remy here?
I think it looks like we have Varun and Morgan. I think those are the only
Morgan is
two.
for the summer.
Mhm,
Okay,
mhm.
is Layla here? Okay, I don't hear it. So maybe as of now, Varun is available.
Can
So
we screen share? We can see the
yeah, maybe we can turn off the screen share, see the okay.
Okay.
Now I see, all the participants. So now for the academic year, Varun is here. So maybe Varun, could you share your experience? For me, what I'm most interested is what kind of courses did you take? How were the courses maybe compared to Northwestern? How many courses were you able to transfer? And those basic information and your overall impression of the in your study of those tips, things that would be great.
Yeah, sure. So just for some background, I am studying computer science in Weinberg, and when I went abroad, there was a split of courses that you can take as a study abroad students. There are classes where all Yonsei students can enroll in, and then there are classes that are specifically set aside for study abroad students. And you have the ability to take classes between those two, just depending on whatever you want to take. And as for computer science, I reached out to my program advisor beforehand, and they sent me a list of pre-approved study abroad computer science classes at Yonsei, and they also sent me a form if I wanted to get another course pre-approved. So that was really nice. I knew going in, like there's, already I think like 10 to 15 courses approved at Yonsei for computer science, and I'm sure for other majors it's pretty similar. But I went in and I wanted to finish up some of my distribution requirements. And I know in Weinberg you can transfer in up to 1 distribution requirement. So I took a history class. I'm in the process of petitioning for it right now. So I just have to like fill out a form and submit it to the advisors. But overall, since it's on a semester system, you can enroll in up to 18 credit hours, which is like pretty standard for a credit for like a semester system school. And I was taking classes like history. I took like a politics of the Korean Peninsula class, which was really interesting. I got to take a psychology class as well. I took the Korean language intensive program, which is called KLI, and this is a uh, optional course that you can take, but I'd highly recommend it. You have to take like a placement test when you get there, and you meet 3 times a week, and you really get close with your class. It feels very similar to Korean classes at Northwestern as well. The class size is about like 8 to 12 students. You get to know your professor really well. You get to know the other students really well. And then I also took a Taekwondo class for pass, no pass, and it was 1 credit hour, and that was really fun. It was taught by a professor who travels around the world and teaches Taekwondo and has a PhD from Yonsei. So that was really cool. And yeah, I would say academically, The courses definitely aren't as rigorous as Northwestern, so you'll have a bit more time to do things outside of school, even if you're taking more classes. And just in the nature of the school being on the semester system, you have a lot more spacing between assignments and readings and essays or papers or anything like that. So it just gives you a lot more flexibility with what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. I hope that answers the question. It's kind of long-winded.
Oh, no, that was great. And then, does anyone have question? Actually, I have a question. Varun took my up to second year Korean, and then so he studied Korean for 2 years and went to Korea. So my question was that, was your 2 year Korean made you comfortable in speaking Korean in Korea, and also what level of Korean course were you placed into?
Yeah, so I think the main thing is just like being able to read Hangul before you go to Korea is very helpful. Uh, just like in terms of signage in public, and if you ever get like a menu, it also like allows you to learn new words a lot faster if you already know how to read. And that's something that you can pick up very easily, even if you have never formally studied Korean. But yeah, I think my proficiency was at a level to where I could communicate my needs and like I guess like what I'm seeing around me in public. The bigger learning curve was learning how to interact with like other college students and speak in a more casual way. But you definitely can learn that. And if you have a strong basis, then being able to do that is very easy to learn. As for the placement, I placed into level 2, and I got to like really hone in on my fundamentals of the Korean that I learned, which was really nice. And yeah, yeah.
Okay, so here one thing is that Yonsei, both Yonsei and Ewha doesn't have the language requirements, so you don't have to take the Korean language course or no Korean to apply for it. But on the practical side, as Varun said, if you know some Korean, you really pick up more, and then you will enjoy the stay in your Korea. So if you are planning for the following year, not this coming year, I really, so, and then if you are not Korean speaking student, I really highly recommend you take at least a year of Korean. It will make a huge difference. Okay, so with that one, any question from students? Nope. I have one more question to Varun. How was the housing? Because Yonsei is not always able to provide the student housing. Or were you able to get the student dorm? Or where did you stay?
Yeah, so I lived in the dorm on campus, and it was an exchange student dorm. So that was really fun because it was super easy to meet other study abroad students, and that's ultimately how I like formed my group of friends and most of the people that I met. Uh, the way that housing works is that they have they have two different dorms. They have one co-ed dorm, and then they have a girls only dorm, and they're right next to each other on campus, which is super convenient if you just for getting to class. But it does fill up really quickly, and if you decide to study abroad there, you'll start getting emails towards maybe like the end of May or early June about housing, and then the portal will open up at like a specified time. You just have to be ready to send in your application, and if you do that, you'll typically get a spot. I know otherwise people are living in apartments off campus in Sinchon, which like right next to Yonsei, and people also had a great time doing that. But I would highly recommend staying in the dorm.
Okay, but so something disadvantage of Yonsei is that they don't have enough housing because they have so many students coming to Yonsei for study abroad or the exchange program. So sometimes you have to find housing, by yourself. That's some, tricky downside. But Ewha is very supportive for these housing, so we never heard a problem with the issues getting the on-campus housing. So there will be another advantage we like to kind of let other students know about it. Okay. Still no question? Okay, thank you, Varun, for sharing your stories.
Oh,
Thank you.
can I
Oh.
ask a question? Thank you. Hi, Varun. Thank you so much for joining us. I wanted to ask if Yonsei had any kind of intercultural activities or any programming for visiting students? So that's one question. And then if you could share with students what you thought about the transportation in Seoul.
Yeah, definitely. So to answer the first question, there are a fair amount of clubs that are tailored specifically towards exchange students. And one that like really sticks out is this club called Yonsei English Exchange Program. And pretty much what it is uh it's a club where regular Yonsei students who are trying to learn English or improve their English can join. And they organize events where exchange students can then go like interact with them in English and in Korean. You get to like learn from one another, and you just pay like um you'll pay like 30,000 won, which is roughly like $20, $18, and you get like unlimited food and drink for the night, and you get to go to like a restaurant and meet all these people, and it's super fun. And they would have those every few weeks. So if you wanted a way to meet local students, that was one of the best ways to do it. And also, yeah, it was just a really fun time. Uh, and then in terms of transportation, uh, the metro, like the subway system and the bus system is like very robust in Seoul, and I think that's pretty well known. Um, it's pretty easy to get around. You just get a transit card, you load it with money, and then you use your Maps apps, and there's always a bus or train somewhere around you to take you wherever you need to go.
Great. Thank you. And Varun, make sure you come visit me. I'm gonna test your Korean to see how much you improved.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And then now we want to talk about the summer programs. So here for summer participants, I see Morgan. Hi, Morgan.
Hi,
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
Uh-huh.
Good morning.
Yeah, Aiden is not here. So Morgan, so why don't you share your summer, summer schools, just like, classes, some, activities, things like that.
Yeah, so I'll do the same thing that Varun did, like background. I'm Morgan. I'm currently a junior, and my two majors are theater and sociology. And I did the summer program. So I did the 6 week one. There was like the 4 week one and the 6 week one. But I did the 6 week one. I think it was overall a very good time. I lived on campus. I got lucky. I got the dorm I wanted and the room that I wanted. Um, and I took 2 classes. I just took the minimum requirement that was needed to get transfer credits here at Northwestern. And I took them both in the morning. So uh, that's what I would suggest if you do this. Take them both in the morning because by the time like 1 p.m. rolls around, you have the rest of the day to go out and explore. Um, I'm trying to think. I
What
took
class did you take? What
uh,
are the two classes?
took a psychology class. That was really interesting. And then I took a Korean media class. So we talked about like movies and TV shows that were culturally relevant to Koreans. Um, and also somehow we talked about K-pop a lot. Um, so that was really fun. I met a lot. I feel like if you want to live on a dorm, that's good. But I also had a lot of friends who were weren't able to get a dorm, and they secured an Airbnb. Uh, there's like the very first week, there's a lot of orientation stuff, so you won't be kind of ousted out because you're not in the dorm. So that wasn't like a concern for a lot of people that I know who lived off campus and couldn't get housing. And yeah, I think that's pretty much the gist of it. It was a very, very good experience. And I feel like 6 weeks was enough time for me. I felt like I remember telling my friends that I was there like around week 5. I told them I did everything that I wanted to do. That was like on my like Korea bucket list was basically all filled, which is surprising in 6 weeks, but it made sense because you have a lot of free time. The classes aren't that hard. There's barely any homework, And if you take like the morning classes, like you have the whole afternoon. A lot of people don't go to classes on Fridays to go on weekend trips. So that was an option too. So yeah, you get a lot of stuff done if like you want to.
Um, this is there anybody who have question for the summer program? How big, how big, Morgan, do you think the summer program? How many students did you
Oh,
see?
it was a lot. The orientation that we had, they said it was the biggest like group that they've ever had. I think it was over like 500. It was
Okay.
like, imagine, I'm trying to like visual, because it was like the orientation was in like this huge auditorium. Um, and it was like all the seats were filled, and they said some people couldn't even come inside because there were it was just a lot of people. So it was very large, but I
Yeah.
think the dorm, there's like a lot of um, people in the dorms. I would say half were in the dorms and half were not. Yeah.
Okay. So it just confirms that Yonsei is really, really popular among international students. That's why the campus filled up so quickly. So that means they have a good program things, but it has a downside to that's something, I want students think about it. Okay. Well, I think that's about it. Looks like no one really has a question. So should we conclude our session? Is there anything to add, Laura?
I'll just add one thing. If I highly recommend, so today's session was very useful. We shared a lot of good information. We got to hear some good stories from the returnees. But I still highly recommend if you haven't already met with me for a group advising session for programs in South Korea, still do that. Still schedule one of those group advising sessions with me because I cover more details about courses and how transfer credit works. So yeah, this is not necessarily meant to be in place of the group advising. It's kind of more of a supplement, a very nice supplement. So definitely still schedule with me. And don't forget, February 25th is the absolute final deadline to apply for summer for Yonsei and also for Ewha for fall. So February 25th, keep that in mind. And yes, you can email me with any questions about study abroad in Asia. And yeah, I think that's all I have to add. I really appreciate the student speakers coming to share their experiences. Thank you, Professor Lee and Professor Kim. And that's all I have. So anything
Lauren,
else?
Lauren, I can add one more thing about Ewha. Ewha Ewha is hosting summer program with Harvard University. So Harvard University and many other universities, they have some program with them. So definitely UI is good potential. And then I've heard like me said, like Professor Millie said, EWA has very good reputation, especially from returnees. Returnees always share very, very good experience, and they are caring individual students very much, and cultural experience, cultural expansion, and as well as one-to-one speaking partner, one-to-one language exchange partner is provided, and they have a lot of good experience and learning experience, and especially for language exchange. So um, it will be a good opportunity for you to think about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's about it. So we'll wrap up the session. I'd like to ask the organizers to stay. We need to discuss few things, but students, you may go. Thank you so much for joining the info session. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.